everyone thinks they've got the perfect zombie survival plan. Some people say they'll hide in the woods. Others claim they'll turn their house into a fortress. And then there's always that one person who swears the mall is the way to go. But let's be real. Most of those places wouldn't last a week. That's why I decided to break down the 7 best places to survive a zombie apocalypse. But before we dive into the list, let's set some ground rules. First off, we're not talking about super fast zombies, mutated monsters, or anything straight out of Resident Evil. This is about the classic, slow-moving Romero-style zombies. 1 or 2 isn't a huge problem, but let yourself get cornered and you're toast. Second, you're not a movie hero with unlimited ammo. You're just you. Probably a regular person with whatever limited supplies you can grab. Finally, we're not forgetting about the human factor. Scarce resources, desperation, and paranoia can turn people into your worst enemy, alright? With all that in mind, let's jump into these 7 best places to ride out the apocalypse. Number 7. A wood cabin. A wood cabin tucked away in the wilderness might be one of the smartest spots to survive when the dead take over. The first big advantage is isolation. Zombies are drawn to sound and people, so the deeper you are into the forest, the fewer problems you'll run into. A remote cabin surrounded by trees makes you practically invisible to the hordes wandering the city streets. Another perk is the durability of the structure. Most cabins are built to withstand storms, snow, and harsh weather. That makes them sturdy shelters against both the environment and zombies. Combine that with the natural resources nearby, and you have the foundation for long-term survival. Lakes and rivers mean water and fishing. Forests offer wood for fires, and if you know a bit of wilderness survival, you could hunt wild game or forage for berries. Of course, there are challenges. Cabins are usually small and don't come with giant storage rooms, so you'll need to manage supplies carefully. Stockpiling food, tools, and medicine becomes critical. Plus, while being isolated keeps zombies away, it also means you're cut off from other survivors who might help if something goes wrong. One slip of an axe, one bad illness, and you're on your own. That's why smart survivors would add basic defenses like barricades, traps, or even noise-making warnings to alert you of danger. It might feel like living on the Wilderness Show on TV, but that lifestyle gives you something city dwellers don't have, which is distance from chaos. In the end, a wood cabin is about trading comfort for safety. If you can handle the solitude, chop your own firewood, and hunt like your ancestors, then a cabin could be one of the most secure ways to wait out the apocalypse. Number 6. Small islands. When the cities fall and the roads are swarming with zombies, heading to a small island could be a genius move. The big selling point? Zombies can't swim. Once you've crossed the water, you've basically put an uncrossable moat between yourself and the undead. The only real threats left are natural challenges and other humans. The key is choosing an island you can reach without a large boat. If you can get there by canoe, kayak, or even swimming short distances, it means it's accessible enough to settle on, but still far enough to keep zombies away. Islands also provide a wealth of survival opportunities. Fishing becomes a steady food source, while rainwater collection or natural springs can keep you hydrated. If the island has edible plants or fruit trees, that's even better. But let's talk about loneliness. Remember the movie Castaway, where Tom Hanks got so desperate he started talking to a volleyball with a face drawn on it? That's a real risk. If you go alone, isolation can break you mentally just as quickly as hunger. So if you plan on escaping to an island, make sure you bring a small group. A team not only helps with chores and defense, but also keeps you sane. The other danger is humans. An island that looks perfect to you might look perfect to other survivors too. If someone else shows up, you'll need to defend it or negotiate. Unlike on the mainland, there's no running away option. Once you're on an island, you're stuck. Still, for those who prepare properly, a small island offers one of the safest, most defensible places to ride out the zombie apocalypse. Number 5. Farms. If there's one thing a zombie apocalypse quickly teaches, it's that food is the most valuable resource. That's what makes farms such a strong survival option. Unlike a supermarket, which will be stripped bare in days, a farm can produce food for years. Fields for planting crops, barns for storing harvests, and livestock for eggs, milk, and meat make farms the ultimate long-term survival spots. The open land around a farm is also a huge advantage. Zombies are easy to spot from far away when they're slowly trudging across empty fields. That gives you time to prepare defenses, whether it's setting up fences, digging trenches, or even using farm machinery in creative ways. A tractor might seem ordinary today, but in a zombie apocalypse, it could double as a barricade or even a weapon. Water is another plus. Many farms already have wells, ponds, or irrigation systems, which means you won't be scrambling for clean drinking water. Add solar panels or generators, and you could even keep some basic electricity running for the essentials. But farms aren't perfect. They're huge, which makes them harder to defend. You'll need multiple people to cover the space, guard against raiders, and keep up with the heavy work that comes with farming. And while a remote farm can be quiet and safe, it's also a target for desperate survivors who know exactly what you have: food. That said, if you gather a strong, trustworthy group, a farm gives you sustainability. You're not just surviving day by day, you're building a future. A well-run farm could easily turn into a thriving community, making it one of the most practical places to endure the apocalypse. Number 4. Cold northern regions. When the world is crawling with the undead, heading north into the cold might not sound appealing, but it could save your life. Harsh winters and freezing temperatures are brutal on people, but they're even worse for zombies. With their bodies rotting and their muscles stiff, the cold slows them down dramatically. In some cases, freezing weather might immobilize them completely, turning once dangerous hordes into lifeless statues of ice. Another huge advantage is population density, or lack of it. Cold northern regions, whether it's Alaska, northern Canada, or the Scandinavian wilderness, are sparsely populated. Fewer people at the start of the outbreak means fewer zombies overall. Wide stretches of snow, frozen forests, and mountains make it unlikely you'll run into large groups of the undead. Resources are tougher to come by, but not impossible. Hunting, fishing through frozen lakes, and foraging during these short summers can sustain you if you know what you're doing. Plus, cabins, lodges, and ranger stations are scattered across northern regions, offering sturdy shelters to hunker down in. Firewood is abundant, and with the right gear, staying warm is manageable. Of course, survival here isn't easy. The cold can kill you just as quick as zombies if you're not prepared. Frostbite, hypothermia, and food shortages will become everyday threats. And because of the isolation, it may take days or weeks to find other survivors, which could mean you're completely on your own. Still, cold climates force you into an environment where zombies lose their biggest advantage. Instead of fighting off fast-moving hordes, you're facing sluggish, brittle shells that can barely function. If you're tough enough to handle the cold, then the northern wilderness could be one of the safest long-term refuges in a zombie apocalypse. Number 3. Caves and mountain shelters. High up in the mountains, or hidden within the earth itself, caves and mountain shelters offer natural protection that few other places can match. Zombies are terrible climbers. Stairs are already a challenge for them, let alone rugged cliffs or steep trails. By heading upward into a cave system or a small mountain cabin, you're instantly reducing your risk of random encounters with the undead. Caves have been used by humans for shelter since prehistoric times, and for good reason. They provide thick walls, cover from the weather, and concealment from prying eyes. A well-placed cave or a hollowed-out mountain shelter can act like a fortress. With only 1 or 2 entrances to guard, it's easier to secure against both zombies and hostile survivors. Mountains also offer resources if you know how to use them. Freshwater streams often flow from higher elevations, and the terrain is good for hunting goats, deer, or smaller animals. You can also use the natural layout to your advantage, like cliffs make for excellent lookouts, and bottleneck trails are perfect choke points if you ever need to defend your territory. But mountain life comes with its challenges. Supplies are harder to haul up steep paths, and farming is nearly impossible at higher elevations. You'll need to stockpile food or become skilled at hunting and preserving meat. Temperature swings can also be brutal, with hot days and freezing nights, so clothing and firewood are essential. Still, the isolation of mountains and caves works heavily in your favor. Few survivors will bother climbing into the wilderness, and even fewer zombies will ever reach you. With preparation and grit, a cave or mountain shelter could turn into the perfect hidden base. A place where you can ride out the apocalypse while the world below tears itself apart. Number 2. Living on a boat. One of the smartest ways to put distance between yourself and zombies is to live on the water. Zombies might be relentless on land, but they're useless swimmers. A boat, whether it's a sailboat, fishing vessel, or even a sturdy houseboat, offers a natural barrier that most undead will never cross. Anchored offshore, you can watch the chaos unfold from a safe distance, while enjoying the kind of security few land-based survivors ever find. The biggest benefit of boat life is mobility. Unlike a cabin or a farm, you're not stuck in one place. If resources run out in your area, you can sail down the coast or across a lake to find new supplies. Waterways also mean access to an endless supply of fish, giving you a renewable food source if you have the right equipment. Rainwater collection can keep you hydrated, and solar panels can provide just enough electricity for the essentials. Of course, life on a boat isn't perfect. Space is limited, so storing supplies is a challenge. Bad weather and storms can be just as deadly as zombies, capsizing your only shelter if you're not careful. And while you're safe from the undead, humans remain a threat. Pirates or desperate survivors could try to take your boat, leaving you stranded, or worse. Fuel is another concern. Unless you rely on sails, gasoline and diesel will eventually run out, forcing you to stay close to shore or become dependent on wind power. But with careful planning, strong seafaring skills, and regular supply runs, a boat can be one of the most defensible and flexible survival options in the apocalypse. When the land turns dangerous, heading out onto the water might just give you the distance and freedom you need to stay alive. Number 1. Constant moving and tent life. As much as it's tempting to settle down and build a base, the number 1 survival option in a zombie apocalypse may be to never stay in one place for too long. Living on the move, setting up temporary shelters with tents and lightweight gear keeps you unpredictable, mobile, and harder for zombies or hostile humans to track. The main advantage is flexibility. When you're constantly moving, you're not tied to a single location. If an area gets overrun, you can pack up and leave within minutes. This prevents you from being cornered or trapped like survivors who gamble everything on one fortress. A tent or tarp takes minutes to set up and just as quickly to take down, letting you stay light and fast. Resource gathering also becomes easier. Instead of exhausting one patch of land, you can move from place to place, scavenging food, water, and supplies as you go. Forests and wilderness areas provide cover, while abandoned towns might offer short-term loot before you disappear again. Your survival isn't based on defending a single spot, but on staying ahead of the danger. The downside? It's exhausting. Constant movement means constant uncertainty, and tents offer little real protection from weather, wild animals, or sudden zombie encounters. Sleep will always be light, and you'll need strong survival skills to hunt, purify water, and stay warm. Traveling in a group helps, but the larger the group, the harder it comes to stay hidden. Still, survival in a zombie apocalypse isn't always about comfort. It's about staying alive. And nothing keeps you safer than mobility. By refusing to become a stationary target, you're always one step ahead of the dead. Constant movement and tent life may be tough, but it gives you freedom, and in the end, freedom might be the only thing that saves you. If you've enjoyed this countdown of the 7 best places to survive a zombie apocalypse, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more survival breakdowns. The end of the world might not be coming tomorrow, but it never hurts to be prepared.